Now, attempts to woo the vote-rich Mount Kenya region is on, with presidential aspirants making a stab at the politically charged region. Tonight on Pandit's Night, we speak to former Kiambu Governor William Kabogo on the battle for Mount Kenya region. Good evening, but first, these are the stories making headlines tonight. Tonight, Ministry of Education now says any student linked to arson in schools will not be accepted in any other public institution.
And your teachers are excellent. They are some of the best teachers in the world. They are available to you. And if they can identify you before, we will be able to help you. But if we are identified after, we have the DCI and the DPP.
Several students have been arrested. Also tonight, Supreme Court strikes out Sonko's appeal case seeking to stop Nairobi Deputy Governor Anne Kananu from being sworn in as governor. Plus, lawyer Hassan Nandwa, who disappeared 10 days ago, finally found in Mwingi, but his client, terror convict Elgiva Buire, is still missing.
We do condemn in the strongest terms possible the abduction, mysterious disappearances, not only of our members, but also of Kenyans.
A report by the National Council for Population shows teenage pregnancies at 18% across the country. Nairobi County leads in the cases among girls aged between 10 to 14. Mini Mbesa is our sign language interpreter. Good evening, I'm Abubakar Abdullahi. Welcome to the broadcast. To our top story tonight, and the Supreme Court has dismissed an application seeking to stop the swearing-in of Nairobi Deputy Governor Anne Kananu Mwenda from being sworn in as Nairobi Governor. The case had been filed by ex-Governor Mike Sonko, who filed the case in an appeal to stop the swearing-in on the 26th of October 2021 at the Apex Court. The Supreme Court judges have cited the absence of a Court of Appeal judgment as premature and unconstitutional. Well, still in the corridors of justice, and the High Court has blocked Kenya Defence Forces and the National Youth Service from taking over mandate of civilians at the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority, KEMSA. Employment and Labour Relations Court Judge Ocharo Kibera also restrained KEMSA from sacking employees pending hearing and determination of an application. Well, from the corridors of justice, let's get to matters education. And the Education Cabinet Secretary, Professor George Magoha, has abandoned diplomacy and has vowed to crush errant students as the wave of schools unrest sweeps through the country. The CS says that no school will be closed due to unrests and that anyone found culpable will face the full force of the law.
The inferno at Maranda High School seems to be the straw that broke the camel's back, with the Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha now putting his foot down and vowing to crash in discipline in schools.
You must know that there is a consequence to it. And we shall not hand you.
The inferno at Maranda High School seems to be the straw that broke the camel's back, with the Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha now putting his foot down and vowing to crash in discipline in schools.
You must know that there is a consequence to it. And we shall not handle you with kid gloves. You are our children. We have produced you with our own blood. Surely you cannot be more intelligent than us.
Maranda High School students will now spend their time at home instead of being at school until further notice following the fire outbreak. The institution now joining the list of shame following several fire outbreaks in other learning institutions. Siaya County Director of Education Mr. Nelson Sifuna revealing that 6 students have already been arrested and are in lawful at Bondo Sub-County Police Station in connection to the fire incident.
They are zeroing in on who to suspect that could have been involved. Definitely the fire could not have arisen on its own. It must have had a source, and after that then they will also let the parents know how that fire.
11 other students from Kagunguma High School and Kiandu Secondary School were arrested awaiting to be presented before the court. Senior Principal Magistrate James Masharia said that the minors will remain in custody until Wednesday. Other institutions that have experienced student unrest recently include Nambale Boys High School in Busia County, Cheplaskei High School in Uasin Gishu County, and Chania Boys in Kiambu County. Kiambu Deputy County Commissioner Mbogo Mathioya has told school heads to employ security guards from reputable security services organizations to facilitate appropriate frisking of students and other school staff.
We said we would wish to have officers or those who are already hired to be from reputable private organizations, because they will be able to look into their background and also other issues related to security. They have a background, they also have a history, and they will be able to contain the situation. This includes other staff members, so that we don't allow students to come out of classroom or wherever they're coming from within the school establishment.
And if they can identify you before, we will be able to help you. But if we are identified after, we have the DCI and the DPP. Is there the police commander is here? Yes. Yes, sir. It will work. It doesn't matter. Your age doesn't matter. In my tribe, you burn a house, it is an abomination. So you never hear people burning houses in Western.
Education stakeholders and a section of leaders from Baringo County have said the problem could be solved if goodwill from all stakeholders is employed.
Yeah. And one of the issues within our societal norms is actually to discipline the child. Now we are coming on board with new societal norms, but we are not closing the gap what replaces the other societal norms. And that is where we are having really a challenge in our schools.
Sisi tulikuwa tunasaidia zamani, lakini huyu mzee wetu profesa ameharibu education. Kwa nini watoto wanachoma shule? So tafadhali yangu hata msichana wangu anasumbua, mwanao kutoka Nandi, hapo bibi yangu anatoka Nandi. Juzi karibu nifukuze, nikamwambia mbona utabaki mtoto yako? Mtoto yangu ananisumbua, msichana wangu from 3 years mashongro, ananiambia nataka kuacha tafutie mpesko. Mwambie mchinga sana.
I can imagine now, because of the pressure in school, because of the timetables, short time for break, they go to school for only one week or even 2 weeks. That is not enough for young minds to rest. So what I want to appeal to the schools is that they've got to be very close to their students.
Paul Kirobi, TV47, Nairobi.
Thank you, Paul Kirobi, for that. Elsewhere, the Supreme Council of Kenya Muslims, SUPKEM, has called on all Muslims around the country to embark on rallies after Friday prayers to protest forceful disappearance and kidnappings allegedly perpetrated against Muslims over time. This pronouncement by SUPKEM chairperson Hassan Olenado comes after lawyer and Muslim scholar Professor Hassan Nandwa was set free 11 days after he was abducted in Nairobi.
At the Jamia Mosque in Nairobi, Muslim leaders in the country alongside officials from the Law Society of Kenya and human rights organizations converged to pressure the government to reveal the whereabouts of Muslim scholar cum lawyer Hassan Nandwa, who had been kidnapped 11 days ago. But before the press conference kick-started, word spread that Nandwa had been found dumped at Mwingi in Kitui County at 1 a.m. by his kidnappers. Nandwa had been abducted by people believed to be police officers after his client, a self-confessed terrorist Elgiva Bwire, was released from Committee Maximum Prison after serving his 10-year sentence. Bwire was convicted of a terror attack in Nairobi in 2011.
After we received the news, we dispatched him, one who practices in Mwingi, and has this morning met Professor Nandwa and confirms that he is safe with his family members in Mwingi. This notwithstanding, as a Law Society of Kenya, we do condemn in the strongest terms possible the abduction, mysterious disappearances, not only of our members, but also of Kenyans.
Bwire is still missing, with the LSK and human rights organizations mounting pressure on the government to release him. The LSK has already moved to court to propel the government to produce him. LSK says they believe Bwire was abducted by police officers and is in the custody of the state.
There is strong, irrefutable, circumstantial evidence that Mr. Bwire is in the hands of the state or its agents.
We abhor in the strongest of terms any action by the state or non-state purporting to curtail justice or infringe on the rights and freedoms of any Kenyan.
Muslim leaders have announced that beginning Friday after the evening prayers, Muslim faithful in the country will hold peaceful protests to condemn the enforced disappearances affecting Muslims in the country. SUPKEM argues that lawyer Hassan Nandwa's length of detention by his captors was informed by his staunch Muslim faith.
In Nairobi, a rally will be held outside Jamia Mosque after Friday prayers, and a similar program will be held at Magadara grounds in Mombasa. The events will be addressed by various Muslim leaders.
Kenya is governed by law. Kenya is governed by constitution. No one above the law. If anyone commit a crime against, then the state has a right to take it to the court.
Nandwa, who has since been reunited with his family, is yet to speak, with reports indicating that he was instructed by his captors not to talk of his ordeal, where he was held, by whom, and the nature of his abduction, as well as the questioning he went through. Mwangi Maina, TV47, Nairobi.
Elsewhere, Monday morning saw Gikomba market traders wake up to an inferno that raised property and goods of unknown value. The section burnt was largely the storage area where the traders kept their commodities. Nairobi Fire Brigade and traders who arrived at the scene were unable to salvage much since the fire had widely spread out. Barely 2 days ago, a court gave a green light to the Nairobi Metropolitan Services to evict a section of Mitumba sellers and pave way for the expansion of the Pumwani Majengo Health Center.
Bado tunaendelea sasa kusikia hiyo ukari, na sasa tumechomekewa tena. Sasa tunashindwa serikali itatusaidia lini, na ni lini hii moto itakuja kuisha, na watachukua hatua gani ili tuweze tutoke hiyo mambo ya moto. Juu imekuwa sasa ni kila wakati ni moto, kila wakati ni moto. Now we are fed up.
Sasa tutalilia nani? Vijana hao wote watalilia nani? Ndio tunasema hata kuchaguana sio lazima tuchaguane. Sio lazima. Kama kuchaguana ndio hii, tumechaguana hiyo miaka, tumeteseka ya kutosha. Tumefunguliwa after curfew. Ndio hii sasa matokeo tumeona. Sasa tutarudi kwa nyumba, kukaa kwa nyumba.
President, tunawaomba kama Ruto anasema ni asola wetu. Tunataka akiwa kama mnene wa maasola, mkubwa wetu, atuangalie sisi pia ni maasola hapa Kikomba tuna hustle, akuje atusaidie vile anasaidia wale wengine. Ili sisi tuweze kuchukua kura kwa sababu tumekataa kuchukua kura kwa sababu kila mwaka tunapewa ahadi na inakuanga ni ya uongo na tusaidiwi. Tunaambiwa hii soko itajengwa, tutawekewa CCTV na haiwekwi. Inawekewa ukuta haiwekwi.
Well, you're watching TV 47 News tonight. Keep talking to us. Send us a message on 22047. The hashtag to use is Pundits Night. Time for us to take a short break. Stay with us. We still have a lot lined up for you. Coming up, a report by the National Council for Population shows teenage pregnancies at 18% across the country. Nairobi County leads in the cases among girls aged between 10 to 14.
TV 47, the home of untold stories.
Tasty. 100. Yani chungi mlonja kabisa, like you do not need to add anything.
Yes. So the first thing you need as a beekeeper is a beehive.
Yes. Even though I know I won't read it as hard,
you can handle it. But if you want us to reduce, we can reduce it.
Wake up feeling fresh every morning and knowing that there is a morning show that's got you covered. It's the morning show built just for you. From local headlines, a comprehensive debate, entertainment, and so much more. I'm always thrilled joining you every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on TV 47, the home of untold stories.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Jemo kuget Gotv ilikuwa decision moja fiti sana kwa life yake. Usitake jua kuget machua mtimam za kucheki futa ilikuwa ngori kuruka.
Entrepreneurs around the country are creatively grinding.
I started with a borrowed phone.
A borrowed phone?
Yeah, that could last 2 hours with charge.
We just have to do quality work for them.
To make their mark in an unpredictable market.
It was now going on a sales venture, looking for stockists door to door.
On the grind, we bring you their stories so you can tell yours. Every Monday at 7:30 p.m.
Welcome back to TV 47 News tonight. Thank you for staying with us. Let's get to more news now. And Nairobi County is leading in the number of adolescent pregnancies. Data from the National Council for Population and Development indicate that teenage pregnancy in Kenya has remained high in the last 5 years. And as Andrin Kilemi now reports, early pregnancies have resulted to a rise in the rate of HIV infection.
Kenya's population is growing, but some experts are not happy about that, with reports indicating that teenage pregnancies and motherhood prevalence are at 18%. The National Council for Population and Development now sounding the alarm that the situation is consequently causing an increase in the spread of HIV.
Estimated 3,531 adolescent girls between the age of 10 to 19 years presenting with teenage pregnancy in health facilities across the 47 counties over a period of 1 year was reported in 2019 and 2020. That is from our demographic health survey. That is the data we collect. That is 351,511 adolescent girls. Those who report to the facilities with pregnancy. But imagine the numbers who are not reporting to the facilities.
Data from the council shows that between January 2020 and October 2021, Nairobi City County led in the number of teenage pregnancies. 2,379 cases of teenage pregnancies were recorded in 2021 from 2,598 cases, which were recorded last year. This shows a reduction in the number of cases by 219. Kajiado County followed closely with a total of 1,496. Meru recorded 1,341. Homa Bay and Mandera counties recorded 1,181 and 1,370 respectively. Out of the over 3,500 cases of adolescent pregnancies reported every year, 59.3% do not use any form of contraception. Teenage pregnancies have been termed as the main cause of increased HIV cases in the country.
Today we have the older generation of people living with HIV, our largest cohort, 55 years old and above. Now when we have put them on treatment, they are going on with their lives. What are we doing? We start every year having 6,000 new infections among children, and then we start having children also getting infected through sex. So it means as a country, the dream of ending AIDS in Kenya will never become a reality. The only way to become a reality if we have to end AIDS and HIV infections among young people and adolescents and children.
Sexual violence, inadequate reproductive health information, poverty, lack of parental guidance, and forced marriages are among the major causes of teenage pregnancies across counties. Employment of innovation and technology are among the ongoing efforts to end teenage pregnancies in the country, while at the same time ensuring friendly quality reproductive health services and information among youth and adolescents by the year 2030. Andrine Kilemi, TV47, Nairobi.
Elsewhere, the ruling Jubilee Party is scheduled to conduct its National Delegates Convention on the 30th of November this month to consider ironing out issues affecting the party. In a statement sent to newsrooms, the party's Secretary General, Raphael Tuju, says the meeting will, among other issues, focus on reviewing and formulating all policies of the party, as well as amend and ratify the party's constitution according to the Political Parties Act and Elections Act.